For those that are like me, like very curious and like wanting to read more, dig into these autobiographies, where would you say like a good place to start?
Well, there's two volumes edited by Yuval Taylor, and the volumes are called I Was Born a Slave. There's two volumes, and both of those volumes are filled with enslaved narratives. And I use those volumes in my book. So if you want to just read the autobiographies, that's one of the first places I would go. Yeah. And then there's
And
another, oh, I'm sorry.
oh, good, no, good, good.
There's another compilation of the women autobiographies by William Andrews, um, that has Zilpha Elal, Julia Foote, and Jarena Lee in it. I have
Oh,
to look up for a minute. So he has all three of their autobiographies in one place.
yeah, that those are the ones I'm really curious about because, like we were talking about, like how they had to deal with also dealing with Paul and being silent in the church, and also having to deal with the family and putting their lives at risk. Like those are the
Yeah.
ones that are all of them sound interesting, but I want to almost start with those ones because those ones are so bold. Ooh.
Yes, yes. So it's called Sisters of the Spirit.
Oh,
Three black women's autobiographies of the 19th century.
when you were before we go, as you were like reading all these autobiographies and biographies and histories, I gotta imagine that some of this stuff is very traumatized, like what you're reading, as they're talking about their encounters with slavery. And I can imagine like other people that are just starting to encounter these texts might be triggered. So do you have any like words of like kind of the space to be in before you begin to read these texts?
Wow, that's a good question. So I have to admit, there were times I had to step away as I was doing the research just to kind of get a break. Um, because when you read their stories, it's really hard. I mean, things they endured is really difficult to read. Um, you may need to take some time away. I often talked about it with my family, kind of like decompressed, kind of shared what I was reading, just kind of, had a conversation with them to kind of help me
Yeah.
deal with the different things I was reading. So I think it's important when you read these texts to be prepared that they will be challenging. Um, and they will be difficult to read. But at the same time, I think it's necessary that we read them. It's important that these stories are not lost or forgotten. Another thing that may help is journaling. Journaling as you read these stories, um, writing down how they make you feel. How would you respond if you were in this person's shoes? Like, there are different ways you can do it, but I think journaling may be a good way to kind of walk through the emotions you may feel as you read these texts because they are very difficult at moments. They really are.
And I think all that like helps us build empathy. Like it helps us put us in those shoes, which makes everything that they've done so much more powerful.
Yeah.
The way that they read scripture, preach scripture, understanding where they're coming from, like just shines a light on just the beauty, the determination, their radical preaching. Like it's such beautiful stories. And
Yeah.
I want to thank you for like compiling these stories into a volume. What you've already done is like helping us build empathy and understand how Paul is
Hmm.
understood. Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video clip from the Dogado podcast. To get more videos like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. You can also download the full episode of each show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast player. Take care.